Last week, Croatian pro triathlete Andre Vistica sent me his video for analysis to see if I could find anything in his stroke that would help him go from averaging about 54 minutes for his Ironman swims down towards that front pack, which tend to average sub 50. So I'm going to share the analysis that I did for him with you here, and also share with you a way that you can get your stroke analyzed by me if you'd like me to help coach you to swim faster. Now, as I've looked through here, there's a lot you're doing very well, and I think it's really just 2 or 3 adjustments and tweaks to what you're currently doing to get more from it, essentially. So the first one here will be, if you look from the side, and you've probably looked at this footage already, you'll notice that in terms of body position here, you can see that we've got the head at the surface, hips are a bit low, heels are sitting pretty well in the water. So there's a bit of a dip through the middle of the body. Now, if you were able to hold yourself a little bit more horizontally in the water with the hips a little bit higher, that would certainly reduce the drag. Now, if you have a wetsuit on, it's probably going to take care of this. However, it's good to just practice this stuff in the pool, get good body position without the wetsuit on, because it leads to better times in the pool, which can also lead to better times with a wetsuit on as well. Now, I would imagine that the reason that you're getting a bit of a dip through the middle of your body is just for the reason of where you're looking there. So looking forwards. Now, there's no problem with looking forwards, but we don't want to look forwards too much, because generally that will lead to more of an arch through your lower back, and often for the hips to sit a bit low. So I'd be probably aiming somewhere like that. So a little bit in front, but not that far in front there. So looking slightly forwards, but not too far forwards. And just lengthen the back of your neck, like you're trying to get rid of the wrinkles in the back of your neck, because we want to keep long through your spine, long through your neck, so you're holding this reasonably straight. Now, if you have a look at this from here, you have a look at, this is a girl, Kia Melverton, who was on the Australian Olympic team for distance freestyle. Now, you'll see that she's not looking straight down by any means. She's looking slightly forwards there, but you can see how she's got this longer line through her head, neck, and spine. So just a little bit more streamlined, and obviously with the hips, you can see they sit that bit higher in the water. There's no water sitting below her back there. She's sitting at the surface, and you can just see it's quite a bit more streamlined overall in terms of this body line here compared to that body line down there. And it might not look like much, but it really does add up, especially over time. So that'd be the first thing, just adjusting the head position and lengthening the neck. Now, if you can feel your head, hips, and heels at the surface, then you know you're sitting well. And the good thing about head position is it's easy to change, because you just look a bit further down. Physically, it's very easy to do. The hardest thing is just remembering to do it, but also you're not going to have as much awareness around what's in front of you. And that can be the thing that puts people off, where they just don't want to look that bit further down because they can't see in front of them. They feel like they're going to run into someone in front of them or hit the wall. So it just takes a bit of getting used to not seeing where you're going as much. But that'd be a great place to start. And I know it's a very common thing to look at or adjust and all of that, but it's for a good reason, because there's very few good swimmers that look that far forwards. The only one that sort of comes to mind there is Ian Thorpe, if you know who he is, Australian Olympian and champion. But there's not many others. He could get away with it, but yeah, that'd be the first thing to adjust. And I would start with that, even just for the next 2 weeks. If you were to just focus solely on head position and sort of switching your core on a bit and your hips on a little bit, so you can keep the hips near the surface there, that'd be a good one just to focus on, just that head position, body position. So that'd be the first one. I'll give you a drill to help practice this, and it's just a really basic front kick drill. So you're face down, hands in front of you in this position here, and just work on having head, hips, and heels at the surface, holding this straight line all the way through the body. So if you do 25 meters of front kick, 25 meters of swim, when you go into the swim, hold that same body position, and you might do a couple of 50s of that just to practice that. That'd be a good place to start. Because the way, if you think of how can you swim faster, it's either reduce drag or increase propulsion. So those two things. And we want to start with the drag, and that's obviously creating more drag than what you need to have there. Good. All right, so yeah, that'd be a good place to start. Okay, excellent. Now, the next thing after that, and these are really the main two. It's that head position to help with the body, and then the second one is mostly what's happening with your right side here. So when you're reaching forwards on your right side, there's one thing I want to change here that will help you get more out of your catch and pull on this side. Now, if we have a look at this position here, okay, there. Now, I don't have a measurement tool on here, but if we were to measure how far your shoulders at their furthest point and how far your hips at their furthest point there in terms of with the water, we'd probably see they're around 60 degrees, maybe 55 degrees here. So they're rotating on the side quite a bit, especially the hips at that point. Now, if you're rotating that far on your side and then going through your catch, so the catch, which I'll just talk about this first movement here, that's your catch, so that movement there. If you're doing the catch here and your pull while you're that far on the side, let's bring it back a stroke. Okay, you don't get much out of it because you're just so far on the side that you can't really apply power when you're side on. You've got to be starting to come back flatter at that point as you're going through your catch and pull. Otherwise, you just don't get much out of that right arm at all. And you'll see it's not until here where your shoulders and your hips are back to flat, but you're almost all the way back at your hip at that point. So it should be, ideally, you should be back to close to flat, probably about here is where we'd want to start to see that happening. So I'll show you this video again of Kia. Have a look at this from the front with the rotation. So you'll see with the hips and shoulders there, if we measure that furthest point of rotation, you just have to take a guess at it, but she gets to about 34, 35 degrees here, and similar with the hips at that point. All right, so you can see she's not quite on the side as far there. All right, so she's a bit flatter at that point. Now, if you have a look at her catch on this side, you'll see similar angle of the arm with the catch. Okay, that looks good, but you'll notice that her hand is wider than her shoulder. All right, there, and you'll see she's starting to come back to flat with her hips and her shoulders by the time her hand's coming under her body. So you can see that there. And the reason she's able to do that is because she's not starting off so far on the side. So if we look at this here, as you go through the catch, nice angle of the catch, and looking at it side on, it looks really good. It's just that when you're here and the hand is sort of across the center line of your body, rather than being out wider, like that there, you're not able to make the most of the good catch that you've currently got. All right, so what you have to do there, what you'll have to do is don't roll on the side so far when you're extending with your right arm. So I'll show you side on. So you can see how shoulders go a long way, but particularly your hips are just rolling way too far on the side there, causing you to lose a little bit of balance and stability, so that when you're going through your catch, you've got a great catch position here, but you're just not getting much out of it because your hips and your body's too far on the side at that point. So if you were to stay flatter at this point, so keep the hips to 35, 40 degrees instead of 60, same with the shoulders, bring them back a bit, then, and you'll see it here with Kia, then you'll be in such a better position to get a good catch. So you can see here with Kia, okay, so on the side, but not as much. So she's much better balanced, so that when she gets this catch, you can see how it connects up really well with her body coming back to the other side there. Whereas if we just go through this, you'll see like the arm's going, but the body doesn't come back until now. but it's a bit too late for it. So that's really the main thing there. I'll just come back to the front view here. Now, if we just have a look at your left one to begin with here. All right, so you're actually, like, again, getting quite a good catch on this left side. You're moving through that one well. I'm happy with what the left one's doing. And I think the reason you're able to get a better, get better connection with your catch and your body there is because you can see with your rotation on this left side that you're rotating about 30 to 35 degrees, which is the correct amount. So that part actually looks really good. It's just there, bang, going too far on the side, going through the catch when you're way on the side, and just not getting as much out of it as you could there. So what you'll have to do is feel like you're quite flat when you're reaching forwards with your right arm. Feel like your hips and shoulders are a lot flatter than what you used to. Now, I still want you to obviously get on the side, but just dial it back to what you used to doing. Now, if you were to record some more front-on footage, and we saw that, if we measure this angle here, if we saw that through the back of the shoulders with the water, if this was between 30 to 40 degrees, all right, that was between 30 to 40 degrees there. And when you go through your catch, rather than having this arm coming underneath the center of the body, if your hand was a bit wider than your shoulder at this point, so same angle, but you're out here, like you can see with Kia from the front, then you're going to be in a much better and stronger position as well. You'll be setting into your lats better, you'll use your back and shoulders better, and just get more out of that stroke. And it's not going to feel like you're not going to have to put more power into it. You'll just naturally have more power because you're better balanced and you're using those stronger muscles because of where the arm is and where the body is at that point there. So it's just those two things, because I just want to focus on like what are the things that will move the needle. Like you could really be specific with some things that might change it by like 0.5%, but you don't need that. You just need the big rocks. What's actually going to make a difference? And to me, it's just those two things. The rest of it I'm really happy with, and I think with improving those two things, that can get you down to that up to that front group. If you would like me to analyze your stroke, find me on the Skillest app in the link in the description.